my name is Tova, and she, her pronouns, or they, them, whatever. I am, I guess, technically a senior at Garfield High School, also a Running Start student at Seattle Central. With TeenTix, I'm on the New Guard Leadership Board as the Director of Outreach, and I'm also one of the teen editors for the TeenTix Arts Criticism blog.
I'm Morgan Chosnyk. I'm the Associate Director of On-Air Programming at KEXP, and I am also a DJ. I have a show on Saturdays from noon to 3. I used to be a TeenTix member, actually. Back when I was in high school, I totally had the keychain TeenTix card and everything. So yeah, I've been into the music scene and the art scene here in Seattle for a long time. And then what are we crafting?
So I am painting this little rock.
Oh, cute.
I'm gonna do some koi fish.
Nice. Love it. I'm doing an embroidery.
Nice. So you were talking about how you've always been involved with the Seattle arts community. What kind of art were you interested in high school?
Yeah, so I did all kinds of different disciplines, I suppose. I was a thespian, so I did theater. So I did theater arts. For fine arts, I basically took every class that Shorewood offered. I took photography, I took ceramics, painting, drawing, everything basically. And then when I started doing Running Start, I focused pretty heavily on art and design, the art and design school there for my general studies. I did like oil painting and figure drawing and lots of art history classes, but then also obviously super into music as well. And ended up translating that into radio later on. What about you? What have you been doing in high school as far as arts go?
In terms of the arts that I actually make, I'm mostly a visual artist. Again, I've been getting really into embroidery and textile arts.
Cool.
Paint and draw. I do a little bit of making my own comics, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I was in band for a sec, but that was never really a creative outlet for me.
Yeah.
This one.
What did you play in band?
Clarinet, which never really felt like my instrument,
Yeah.
Sort of why. How would you describe the music you were playing and listening to at the time, in high school? What kind of things were you into then?
Oh yeah, kind of the same stuff I'm into today. I had a very clear taste from the outset, but my favorite band is Radiohead, but I was also super into the local music scene. Back then that was the height of Modest Mouse and Built to Spill, and I was super into those bands, still am. I have a Modest Mouse tattoo. Yeah. I was super into Beck, and then all of the K Records stuff out of Olympia. I was really into that. What kind of music do you like?
I also like Radiohead. Let's see, what have I been listening to lately? I've been listening to, I also like the local music. I've been listening to, Carly Rae Jepsen just put out a new album that I was listening to today. She put that out actually today, so I was listening to that. I've been listening to a lot of, do you know Arthur Russell?
Yeah, totally.
I've been listening to him a lot lately.
Cool. What has been your pivotal arts moment so far in your life? What has resonated with you the most?
I'm less of a theater person. I'm less of a performance arts person, which I think TeenTix is often very kind of theater centric, and that's a little bit less of my jam. Some of the live music shows that I've been to have definitely been pivotal for me because, I don't know, it's just such a different way of connecting with music. And also I feel these days with the way that we consume music has changed so much because it's so kind of instant and immediate with streaming services like Spotify, and it's such a different energy to actually be in the room with the artist and to actually be supporting them in that more tangible way.
Yeah,
I really miss going to live music right now.
Oh man, me too. Totally. Yeah, the live performance aspect is so important because you connect with it on a different level, right? I've found that listening to bands sometimes just on recordings, it doesn't really move you that much. But then if you see a band in person, you're I heard that totally differently. And the next time you listen to the record, you're that doesn't sound anything like how it sounded the first time, So I think it's very important to have that physical, emotional connection with art and music, not just music, but visual art as well. Going to museums and seeing art in person is so much different than seeing a picture of it in a book or on the internet. It's really a visceral experience, and that's, I think, what what art is supposed to be in the first place, you know? And I feel like art is so important to kind of refresh your brain and process some emotions that you almost don't even have time to anymore. You know, historically, it's really important that we save art and see art from the past, because it truly is how average people, or not average people, but people of different spectrums are interacting with society and their world at the time. And it's like the most true view of how people were feeling at the time. This time I feel like is kind of forcing people to reconnect with their roots in a way, you know, and how
Yeah.
art is helpful with decompressing from that.
Yeah, I also think that there's like a lot of pressure to be staying current with like the current media landscape, which I think can be kind of unhealthy because then you're intaking so much and you're not ultimately really processing it, which is also why I actually really like writing reviews for TeenTix, because it is a way to be thinking more like deliberately and critically about something, and then instead of just like taking that in and sitting with it or like talking about it with a friend, then I actually have something that I'm kind of like putting out that also kind of feels like an artistic process to be doing that critical writing.
That makes a ton of sense. Why do you think it's important for young people to be engaged in art?
I think that for teenagers growing up right now, again with the digital stuff, I think that it is important to be taking that time to be thinking critically. And because I don't know, I think that everyone is engaging with like art in some sense, depending on how you define art. Like we're all watching Netflix, we are all like listening to music.
Yeah.
I think that when you're thinking about those things through the lens of like, okay, I'm not just like zoning out and being entertained right now, I'm like engaging with it as art, then I think that that is a way of like developing our critical thinking skills, and also just kind of processing what we like and who we are as people based on the media that we're consuming, like whether that's like high art or whether that is like Netflix, whatever. But I think that when we're engaging with it and thinking about it as art, then I think that it helps us think about it more critically. And also, especially for people that maybe don't see themselves as represented in like mainstream media, I think that art can be really helpful for just like finding a way to see yourself and finding a way to decide what kind of person that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like you've seen the definition of art change during your arts going experience?
It's definitely, the digital thing is the big change. It's interesting because, you know, I feel like fine arts will never really change because, you know, you have to have those materials. But I feel like they're a little more accessible now in a way because you can order things online and order supplies. So you don't have to be bound by having a mode of transportation to go to the art store. Um, you can shop around if you need more inexpensive supplies, you know, so you have more options in that way, which is really nice, I think. During this time, for example, I've seen a lot of art classes move online, so they're still giving access to people, and in a way it's opening access a little bit more. You know, before technology was readily available, it was more like word of mouth, right? Like you couldn't just Google something and find out about it. You couldn't just watch a YouTube tutorial on something. You had to find somebody who knew how to do the thing you're interested in learning how to do and have them teach it to you. How do you think it's changed?
Right now, actually, for the TeenTix blog, we were talking about how normally we only do reviews of stuff put on by Seattle arts organizations, but we were thinking of opening up to our writers the option to just review something like a Netflix show, something that's a little bit less like high art, but that's still media that they're consuming and that still is like artistically produced. And yeah, again, also I'm on like a writer for my school newspaper, and so we've been moving more to social media, and we've been trying to highlight what students have been doing creatively during quarantine, and a lot of that is like baking bread or doing like beadwork or stuff that they might not perceive as art, but is still definitely like creative expression. And I think that the whole quarantine thing is definitely pushing more people towards creative expression, just like out of necessity and because we have time now. And I think that it's nice to break down that barrier of having like, okay, I'm an artist, this is my identity, and moving towards more thinking of art and creativity as something you do, not like solely as something that you are, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
kind of healthy for everyone to incorporate into their lives.
Yeah. I am, obviously not happy that we're in quarantine right now. Like, pandemic is the worst thing ever, but there are upsides to it. And one of those is exactly what you just said. Like, our society was toxic before. Not to say that it's not still toxic in certain ways, but as far as like stress and engagement and having creative space in your mind because you don't have enough time or you're always so stressed out, like that is a very toxic situation. And I think one of the blessings of this moment is that, just like you said, people actually have the time now, maybe for the first time ever, bored in a healthy way, not in a just like, I'm feeling anxious, I'm bored, but in a, oh wow, I have nothing to do. I'm bored. I should figure out something to do.
What kind of like music have you been listening to lately, just like for yourself, or like what kind of things have been on your rotation lately?
Well, going back to Radiohead, they've been posting concerts on their YouTube channel every Thursday. So I've been watching those. That's like my Thursdays are one of my favorite times of the week because I know during making dinner, I can watch a Radiohead concert while I'm doing that. So that's been like a weekly thing. What have you been listening to, or what's been inspiring you lately?
I just watched the documentary about MIA that came out a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that.
I liked it. Yeah, it was good. It was definitely she's definitely like a very interesting person, and getting more backstory on her life was definitely cool. I've been making up my own genre names lately.
Oh yeah.
As well as this interview, but there was this thing on Spotify where you can um they like analyze all your data and come up with like the top 3 tracks that you've been listening to during quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been doing with my friends is we all have been doing that, and then like synthesizing those 3 songs and then inventing a genre name that like encompasses all of those. Which is like, I don't know, that's like I feel like that's a fun way to engage with music, because I think that sometimes those like genres can be really limiting, and it's fun to have a little bit get a little creative with it.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, let's see. I did it, and there was like a Fiona Apple song, an Arthur Russell song, and an Amy Mann song, and so I called that Kitchen Floorcore.
Nice. That's
It's kind of
awesome.
like very kind of chill, acoustic, kind of moody music. That's
Yeah,
like that I lie on the kitchen floor to. Yeah.
I love that. Tova, it was nice talking to you. That was really fun. Let me see what you've been doing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna call this done yet, but this is a good start.
Oh, cool. I love it.
Thanks. How's
Nice.
it going?
That's awesome. I've just been adding more purple.
I can't really see the detail, but I'm seeing some nice colors.
There we go.
I got it. Nice. That's gonna look really awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to me. That was really cool.
Thanks for having me.